How's it going, everybody? Insta SG back again with another Buddyfight video. Okay, so in front of us today we have another deck profile for you guys, and this is for Ancient Mode Wild Dragons. So yes, I know the lighting is horrible, but Wild Dragons has been around since Extra Booster 01, even before Buddyfight 100, which is like the start of Buddyfight, and they haven't seen much hype, especially for Wild Dragons. So recently they've gained a little bit of hype since XBT01 did show 2 new cards for Wild Dragon, and those cards are Blood Dragon Follower as well as Blood Dragon Sylvania. So yes, let's start the deck review off with Ancient World Flag and our buddy Blood Dragon Follower. So this is one of the new cards that was introduced for Wild Dragons in XBT01. It's a size 0 with a 1/1 stat. Not that good, but it's a 2 crit monster, so that's okay, I guess. But the interesting thing about this card is when this card attacks and deals damage to your opponent, deal 1 damage to your opponent and you gain 1 life. So again, like a vampire, taking your enemy's life points. And when this card is discarded from your hand, if you have a size 3 Wild Dragon on your field, you may call this card from your drop zone. So it's a reviving card, like a vampire, and it has lifelink 1. So this card is really good because of its reviving effect. Alright, so that's Flag and Buddy down. Now moving on to size 3s, we have 4 copies of Blood Dragon Sylvania. So this is the other Wild Dragon card that was introduced in XBT01, and it's a size 3 with a 9/6 stat, a call cost of 2 gauge, and counter effect. Choose a card from your hand, choose a card from your drop zone, and you may discard a Wild Dragon from your hand. If you do, put the chosen card into this card's soul and deal 1 damage to your opponent, and you gain 1 life. So again, like a vampire, and you may only use this ability once per turn. So it has double attack, soul guard, and lifelink 2. But the soul guard can only activate if you trigger its counter effect, and note that it's a counter, so you can use it on your opponent's turn as well. So really good card. There's a couple of combos you can do with this deck, and it's a very advantage generating deck, and you can also trigger some discarding effects as well, similar to my Legend World Zodiac deck. Next, for the last of our size 3s, we run 1 copy of Rainbow Dragon Arc-en-Ciel. Now it's a size 3 with a 7/6 effect, stat, sorry. You might be asking why I only run 1 copy, and it's because this deck really utilizes a lot on Sylvania and the impact monster. So Arc-en-Ciel is there to sort of like a little bonus, if you may. And again, call cost of 2 gauge. When this card is on your field, this card on your field cannot be destroyed by effects nor returned to hand, so it's just there. When this card is destroyed, put up to one size 1 and up to 1 size 2 Ancient World monster from your drop zone into your hand. Double attack and lifelink 2. So when this monster dies, right, you get to loot back 2 cards from your drop zone. So really good, but the bad thing about this card, it's only limited to 1 and 2, so you can't get your Blood Dragon Follower back. Now size 2s, we run 4 copies of Mount Dragon Jean Julon. So it's a 6/6 card with no call cost and a lifelink 1. So it's a really good tank, and for the lifelink 1 only, it's actually quite decent. But we don't usually call size 2s to the field. When this card is discarded from your hand, you may pay 1 life. If you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge. A very simple and straightforward card, more on the discarding effect, and it's like a Dragonic charge. Really good. Now moving on to size 1s, we run 3 copies of River Dragon Amlia, 5/1/1 card with no lifelink and no call cost. But if you have a Wild Dragon on your field, note that Wild Dragon only, so it's not limited to size 3. Discard this card from your hand and pay 1 gauge and pay 1 life. If you do, put up to 2 Wild Dragon other than River Dragon Amlia, which is itself, from your drop zone into your hand. So you can use this to loot back Sylvania and Follower and trigger their effects. So that's Amlia for you guys. And for the last of our size 1s, we run 4 copies of Lake Dragon Testaria. So 3/1/3 stat, okay for a size 1, lifelink 1. When this card is discarded from your hand, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw 1 card. So this is one of your main drawing mechanics, and just 1 life, so very cheap. So that's it for our size 1s. Moving on to size 0s, we have 3 copies of Poison Dragon Emperor Misty Envy. So a call cost of pay 1 gauge, a 1/1 card, really shitty stats and really shitty card, but his effect is what makes it worth to play. Nauseous Fog, when your opponent is dealt damage by the effect of your card, draw a card. So it's a 100 demon because 100 demons have this effect called Thundermine, if you guys do not know, and that's like a effect damage kind of thing. But in this case, Sylvania has a shit ton of effect damage cards, like effects, so you can trigger his effect very very well, and it's free draw, so yeah. And of course, Nauseous Fog only activates once per turn, so take note of that. Next, for the last of our size zeros, we run 4 copies of our beloved Blood Dragon follower, our buddy. So we already explained this effect right there. So that's it for our monsters. Now moving on to spells. It's an Ancient World deck, so the staple spells are always there, and as such, we have 4 copies of Divine Dragon Creation. A very simple cast cost of pay 2 life and draw 2 cards. You may activate this once per turn only. So it's your main drawing mechanism. Very very important card, a must play in every single Ancient World deck. And next we run 4 copies of Dragon Emperor Legend. This is the trial deck art from the Chief Emperor Ocean or whatever, basically the Dual Jaeger trial deck, but you may only activate this once per turn. Put a top card of your deck into your gauge, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. So charge, draw, gain once per turn, no cast cost, amazing card. Also another staple in every Ancient World deck. Now we run 4 copies of Wrath Trigger, so a cast cost of 1 gauge and 1 life. Counter, choose a monster on your field, and for this turn, the next time that the monster will be destroyed, it remains on the field, and for this turn it gets counter attack. So Sylvania has a 9k attack and 6k defense, so with this card being able to allowing it to stay on the field and getting a counter attack, it's a 9k straight to your opponent's face. Very very good card. And also it's a counter, so it's like another shield for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, note that since it remains on the field, it means that the monster was destroyed, so any effects such as like maybe penetrate, it still goes through. So just a little bit of a trivia for you guys. Next we run 3 copies of, I have no idea how to say this name, but Sintamani Stone. I keep calling it Sintamani Stone or whatever, but yep, it's a very good card, very good art. I want a P-foil of this. So a cast cost of pay 1 life and putting it into the soul of a wild dragon, size 3 wild dragon on your field. And if this card is in the soul of a wild dragon monster, that monster gets moved and soul guard. So very good card. I have no idea why I only run 3, but 3 seems like a good number for me. Since it's in the soul of Sylvania or something, it gets soul guard. It can trigger soul guard, so it's really good. Next we run 2 copies of Dragon from the Origin. So this has no cast cost, but you may only cast it if you have 4 life or less and you have a size 3 monster on your field. You gain 4 life. So this is like my first card to side out if I want to sideboard it in any competitive play, because by the time you have 4 life or less, you either get Cristiano, Crystal Shoot, or you get X Tempest Buster into your face. So current meta now guys, current meta. Now for the last of our spells, we run 2 copies of Soaring Dragon Fair Skylines. So this is like a monster name and monster card, man, I mean come on. But it's a spell card, a cast cost of 2 gauge, quite heavy but still 2 gauge. You draw 3 cards and you discard 2 cards from your hand. You may only cast Soaring Dragon Fair Skylines once per turn. So you might think that paying 2 gauge and drawing 1 card is like very very expensive, but I'm using this mainly for the discarding effect, because first of all I can sort of filter my deck, and by triggering the discarding 2 effect, I can throw out like maybe Testeria or Jin Julon and I get gauge and draw cards. So very good combo card. And next, moving on to weapons, we have 3 copies of Ringlet Loop of Fire. So 2k attack and 2 critical, equip cost of 1 gauge, and all wild dragon monsters on your field get plus power 1000 and defense plus 1000. Reduce the damage dealt by the lifelink of your wild dragon by 1. So that's why I said at the start of the video that lifelink 1 is not really that scary at all, and most of our monsters have lifelink 1 or lifelink 2, and it really cuts down the lifelink cost by a lot, even though it's by 1. So really good weapon to play, and if you combo Sylvania with Sintamani Stone, you can move it away, and Ringlet Loop of Fire can attack as well. So yeah, that's it for our main deck. Now moving on to our impacts, we actually have two kinds of impacts, but you can technically say it's one because one of them is Impact Monster. So for the Impact Monster, we have 3 copies of Lattice the Tyrant, Golden Dragon Eyes. So Lattice the Tyrant is a very iconic card in Wild Dragons because it was the very first boss monster for Wild Dragon. It was really annoying to deal with back in the day. So yep, it has evolved into a more annoying card. It's a 10/3/5 stat card, and you may only call this card if you have 3 or more different Wild Dragon in your drop zone. A call cost of pay 3 gauge and counter. When your opponent casts a spell, you may discard a Wild Dragon from your hand. If you do, nullify the spell cast by your opponent. So if your opponent, like example, you're fighting Prism Dragon, your opponent uses Mystery Setting or maybe Enhancement or any advantage spells, basically, you can just discard a card from your hand and trigger the nullifying effect. So it's a walking spell nullifier, very good card, and it's not once per turn some more. So yeah, it has Penetrate as well as Lifelink 2. So again, very good card, and it might be a little bit expensive to call, but trust me, it's worth it. So that's Lattice the Tyrant right there. Next, for the last impact in our deck, we have 3 copies of Dragon's Life and Death, Future and Past. So a cast cost of put a monster with lifelink from your field into your drop zone, and note that this does not count as destroy, so Arcanciel cannot activate. And call a size 3 Wild Dragon from your deck by paying its call cost. So note that we can call out Lattice the Tyrant Impact Monster with this card, and it doesn't have an actual call cost like maybe pay 2 or 3 gauge, so it really saves us the gauge, and it's such a cheap card to use. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. That has been my Wild Dragon deck profile. I'll try to squeeze out more Buddyfight battle videos and more Buddyfight videos in general. But other than that, that's it for this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.